Hey everybody, Austin here again with another Let's Play video. Today it's going to be Double Dragon for the Sega Genesis. Apparently programmed by Accolade. Published by Ballistic back in the day. This is not a great port of the game. It looks great, it sounds alright, but man, the gameplay, it's like it's on crack. If you're used to the arcade game, this game is like 3 times as fast. It's ridiculous how fast this game is. But the speed issue aside, your main attacks are gimped as well. Like, they're very, well, not very useful, to say the least. So what you're going to see me do throughout the course of this game is just relying on the elbow attack, which is done by pressing B and C together. And you can kind of see the computer doing it on the demo here, which I think really speaks volumes. If, like, even the guy recording the demo for the game was only doing the elbow, I think that's an issue. So let's go to the options menu, and we're going to put our credits up high. We're going to leave our lives at 2, but we're going to put the credits up just in case. I want to be able to show you guys the end of the game. And we might be able to get through the game without continuing, but I want to give myself some extra continues just in case. Because, again, the game does move like it's on crack, and there are some really tight platforming sections later on in the game. And because the game is so fast, you'll find yourself just accidentally, like, falling off a cliff and dying instantly, because the game moves so fast. What I wonder is if this game was developed in the United Kingdom or Europe somewhere, and just wasn't optimized for the 60 hertz on North American Sega Genesis systems. I wonder if that's the issue with the game. So if anybody knows if this was released over in Europe, if it is slower, it probably is. Let me know. I'm really curious to know, or maybe I should check out some videos of it. So, all right, with that said, let's go up and hit start and get right into it. Again, I'm not going to really be using any maneuvers except for the elbow, because everything is useless in this game. In the arcade game of the game, you could just go up and kick enemies, you can punch them, but look at this. The guy is just constantly dodge them for one, and then when you attack, there's very little, like, recoil on the enemies. They just kind of, like, sit there. It's not quite like the arcade game where kicking was really useful in the arcade game, actually. So, and it's looking like it's useful now, but trust me, it's not that useful. So I'm just not going to do it. I'm going to take a lot more damage than I need to. So we're going to do the old elbow trick here. And one thing you can do in the arcade game is kick them as they were getting up. And that would guarantee to take you into not the headbutt, but the hair grab move, where you would kick them and then grab their head and then pop your knee in their face over and over, and then you could throw them at the end. And there was a very useful setup in the arcade game, but you can't really do that now. Even if you manage to get them with a kick, you don't grab them. Not that I would grab the Lindos anyways, because you couldn't grab the chicks in Double Dragon. That was a Double Dragon 1 thing. And God, look how fast you go in this game. It's crazy. So crazy. I'd like to try to experiment here. So, like, yeah, in this game, if you try to kick them as they're getting up, it doesn't work. I mean, you might kick them a couple times, but you don't grab them by the head in this version when you try to kick them as they're getting up. One other thing that's kind of interesting in this game, and I'm not sure why they went with this design choice, is that weapons that you can throw, like the barrels and rocks later on in the game, or the boxes, they disappear after a certain amount of uses. Like there, it's gone. Which is really odd, because that doesn't happen in the arcade game. And another difference is that the screen doesn't scroll over after you beat a level. It's not continuous. The screen fades out and then you go to the next stage. which is also kind of interesting. I'm surprised they didn't just allow it to scroll over. Oh, there we go. That was a little clunky, though. And in the arcade version, you're supposed to be able to throw it up. But in this game, you always throw it down. It's a little weird. Ooh. So it disappears even if you don't touch anybody. That sucks. And on to stage 3. Double Dragon actually only has 4 stages in the game. It's a very, very short arcade game. I mean, you can beat the arcade version of this in about 10 or 15 minutes. It definitely goes by pretty quickly, especially if you know what you're doing. And one of my favorite things to do in the game, in the arcade game, is to elbow them and then kick them as they were getting up. There we go, just like that. And you could just mow down enemies very, very quickly in the arcade version if you knew exactly what you were doing. One other difference I didn't mention yet is that you're unable to kick barrels on the ground. You can only pick them up in this game. So in the arcade version, you can actually kick them forward, as well as pick them up and throw them. You had a choice, but in this game, you can only pick them up and throw them. See? I'm trying to kick it, and it just doesn't do it. So that's kind of a shame. I liked having that option, being able to kick the barrels. It was pretty cool. There are a lot of reasons why I think Double Dragon was a popular arcade game, and you know, this version sort of takes away some of those reasons. It's still kind of a fun game, you know, the crazy speed aside, on the Genesis, but, you know, it's still kind of, you know, pales in comparison to the arcade game. Got an extra life, apparently. Of course, at the very beginning of the video, I'm like, oh, the punching and kicking is useless in this game, and lo and behold, it's actually working for me now. That works. A single jump kick down. Nice. I'll take that. Okay, it looks like for kicking them as they get up, you just gotta time it right in this version. In the arcade game, you could be very, the timing wasn't as strict to do it. Oh, it seems like it's not doing much damage in this version of the game. Alright. Got a health restore, apparently, so that's pretty cool. Whoa! And that's exactly what I'm talking about. You just literally fall off a cliff or a ledge, just all in less than a second. It just happens very, very quickly. You can't even really stop yourself. I don't know if the Abobos could actually jump in the arcade version. That's kind of interesting. I don't remember them being able to jump in the arcade version. Alright, so this part... Apparently in this version of the game... the blocks don't come out. When I was playing this yesterday, and I got here and I was like, huh, no blocks. Granted, I took the bottom path here, but now that I walk up top, they're still not coming out, so... Oh, shit. I didn't mean to do that. So that's kind of interesting. So apparently I can't push the screen any forward, or I can't push the screen forward right now. So that's kind of tricky. Alright, last portion of the game. I'm surprised that they put the boss music in here, because in the arcade version they use the title screen theme. You gotta be careful on the final boss here because he's got a gun. He's the only enemy with a gun in the game. And it kills you pretty much instantly. So... And the only issue is that the game runs so damn fast that when guys get around you, it's really hard to keep on top of it just because the game moves so quickly. It gives you very little time to react. And ideally, you want to take out his henchmen first, but again, when they surround you, you just start mashing buttons. You're just like, elbow, 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 over and over and over again. Quickly, quickly. Jeez. Whew. And the thing is, doing the elbow in this game is going to cramp your hands like crazy. Like, my hand is really, really hurting right now. Whew. So if you have a Sega Genesis arcade stick, that's probably the way I recommend playing this game. Otherwise, you're just basically pressing B and C over and over and over and over again. So that's pretty much it, guys. That's Double Dragon for the Sega Genesis. I guess I was a little harsh on this game in the beginning. I mean, aside from the speed, it's actually okay. But I actually owned the arcade version for a very long time, and so I'm very, very partial to the original arcade game. Very much a purist in a way. At least in terms of, if you're gonna do an arcade port, I want to, like, if you're gonna make an arcade port look like it's the arcade game, I would also like it to play like it's the arcade game. You know, like the NES and Game Boy versions of Double Dragon, I'm totally cool with. They don't really look anything like the arcade game, and nor would they. It's an NES, right? It wouldn't be capable of doing it. But the Genesis is perfectly capable of doing a perfect arcade port of Double Dragon, and so it's weird having it run so quickly, and then some of your attacks don't really feel quite right when you make contact with the enemies, and although it's not as bad as I thought when I went into this Let's Play. You know, in the very beginning it was like, oh, every move is useless except for the elbow, but that's not true. You guys saw me doing plenty of moves throughout the course of the game. But if you want to beat this game consistently, I still recommend just using the elbow. I mean, it is still kind of a fun game. It's not horrible. It's not bad. I would still just recommend playing the arcade version if you can. Load it up in MAME or something like that. Or if you're a PCB collector, just get the arcade original. But yeah, Double Dragon on the Sega Genesis. Kind of an interesting conversion here. If anything, it is a better conversion than Double Dragon 2 was for the Genesis, which was released in Japan only, I believe. And that was a disaster, unfortunately. Maybe one of these days I'll Let's Play that. But first I need to Let's Play the arcade game, because I did own that PCB as well, so I would like to eventually do that. Let's Play Double Dragon 2. So, alright guys, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up here. Again, Double Dragon for the Sega Genesis. I hope you guys enjoyed this Let's Play. I'll be back with more Let's Plays sometime soon. And if you're new to my channel, feel free to subscribe. And to everybody else that already is, thanks again, and I'll see you all soon. Take it easy.